Has anyone ever told you that God is not real, or that he is dead and does not have any power? Today we will learn about a man named Elijah. Lots of people around him were saying these sorts of things, but what did he choose to believe?
Many years ago, when the wicked king Ahab ruled over Israel, many people did not believe that God was real, and they didn't want to obey his laws. So instead, they made themselves fake gods of stone and wood. They pretended that these gods were real and did all kinds of crazy things to try to prove they were alive. Because of this, God sent a drought on the land so that there was no rain for 3 years.
Can you make it stop raining? What about meteorologists, the people who predict the weather? They know all about the clouds and the sky, but do they control what happens? No. In the end, only God is in control of the weather.
The people of Israel had no more water, and because of that, their animals were starting to die. However, the people still ignored God and worshipped a fake God who could not bring the rain. At the end of 3 years, God sent his servant Elijah to the king. King Ahab hated Elijah and wanted to get rid of him, so he was not happy when Elijah came.
Elijah told the king that it was Ahab and the disobedient people who had brought trouble on themselves. They had disobeyed the one true God.
Then Elijah had an idea. He told King Ahab to bring all the people to a mountain called Mount Carmel, where they would do a test to see who was more powerful, the true God or the fake God. King Ahab agreed and called all the people of Israel, as well as 450 prophets who believed in the fake God, Baal. They came ready to show that their God had power too.
Then Elijah asked the people, "How long will you stand in the middle? If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal is God, follow him." The people of Israel had a choice. They could either choose to follow the true God or follow the fake god Baal, but they could not stand in the middle and do both. It's like playing sports. You can't be on both teams at the same time. You have to be on one or the other.
So what was this test they were going to do? Both Elijah and the prophets of the fake God were going to build altars and burn a bull on it as a sacrifice. But in order to test which one was the true God, the real one would send fire from the sky and burn up the sacrifice. So the prophets of the fake God were allowed to go first. The 450 people who served the fake God set up their altar, laid the wood, and prepared the bull. Then they called on their God from morning all the way until lunchtime. But there was no voice. No one answered. They leaped around the altar, screaming and yelling, but still their God made no sound.
When it was lunchtime, Elijah started to make fun of them. He said, "Scream louder, maybe he's sleeping, or maybe he went on a trip." The prophets yelled louder, but still the fake God did not answer.
Evening came, and Elijah called the people together. He was the only prophet of the true God, and after all day, the people were ready to see if God was real and powerful. Elijah got 12 stones together and set up his altar. All the people watched as he laid the wood and prepared the bull. Then Elijah did something really strange. He had people pour water on the altar. Lots of water. 12 water pots of water. Now the wood was soaking wet. Wet wood does not burn. What was he thinking?
The people watched him closely now. Elijah did not shout or leap, but instead he prayed and asked God to help the people see who was the one true God.
All of a sudden, fire fell from heaven, burned up the sacrifice, the wood, and it even burned up the stones, dust, and all the water in the trench around the altar. Do you think it was hard to see who was the one true God now? No way. The people fell on their faces and said, "The Lord, He is God. The Lord, He is God."
We can see in this story that Elijah had a choice. He could either do what was right or do what everyone else was doing. We have that same choice. And if you're a child of God, I challenge you to do what's right, no matter what. The Bible says in Romans 12:2, "And do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God." This verse is telling us that even if everybody else is doing one thing, if what they're doing is wrong, God says we need to do what's right.
If you are not a child of God, we have a video just for you. Click below on the God's Gift video in the description to find out what it means to be a child of God.
Remember this, the one true God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. He does not ever lose his power or forget about his servants.
See you next time!